The sound of metal scraping in my front door lock froze me in place, every muscle tight, heart thumping like it wanted to bolt out of my chest. I stood dead still in my living room, just listening. There it was again, a key twisting in my own door, and then her voice, slicing through the wood, sharp as broken glass and twice as smug. "Open up. This is an HOA inspection. No knock, no heads up. Just Karen from across the street, pushing her so-called master key into my lock like she owned the entire zip code. I swear, the only thing more invasive than her perfume was her sense of entitlement. She started banging, her voice booming. "You're not allowed to lock this door from me." I could feel my hands curling into fists. This woman wasn't even on the board anymore, booted for harassing another family. But that just meant she had more time to parade around with fake notices and a fake crown, pretending she was still queen. "If you don't open, I'll call the police in half." "You arrested," she screeched, rattling the handle like she'd break it off. And right at that moment, my son's heavy footsteps sounded from upstairs, slow and deliberate, like he was marching into a storm. He'd only been back from deployment a few weeks, but let me tell you, when he comes into a room, you know it. He's got that Marine calm, the kind that only looks gentle until you see what's behind it. He glanced at me, then stepped closer to the door. Karen was still screaming about running the block, but he just leaned in and said, not shouting but clear as day, "You're trespassing on private property." Silence, for once. Then she barked out this bitter little laugh, saying, "You don't scare me. I have the key. This house isn't even yours." That was the spark. He didn't even flinch, just leaned closer to the door and said, real quiet, "You have 5 seconds to step off this porch before you find out who I really am." She muttered something about hoodiots and authority, but I heard her heels backing away on the concrete. I thought she was gone, but nope. I peeked through the curtain, and she's standing at the end of the driveway, pulling out her phone, pacing, yelling into the receiver, making a show for every curtain twitcher on the street. She wanted backup, and she wanted everyone to see her as the victim. My son, calm as ever, whispered, "She's not done. She's about to make her biggest mistake." Sure enough, she called the cops, painted my son as some aggressive man threatening her with a gun. My blood ran cold at that. She threw her hands around, pointed at our house, spun her story for every neighbor watching. My son's face didn't move. "She's setting the scene," he muttered. "By the time the cops get here, they'll think we attacked her." This wasn't her first rodeo. Last year, she got the Johnsons fined with some fake paperwork. Same performance. My son's training kicked in. He wasn't rattled. He was calculating. "She's trying to trigger a tactical response," he said, watching her like she was an enemy combatant. "If the cops think you're armed, they'll come in hot." I was scared. She could get him hurt, or herself. He just shook his head. "She could get herself hurt," he corrected, almost smiling. Karen, feeling victorious, hung up and yelled, "Police are on their way. Let's see you explain this." Neighbors' curtains swayed. People love drama. She knew it. My son motioned me back, then opened the door just enough to step outside. He planted himself on the porch. Boots heavy, stance steady. Karen whipped around, full of fake triumph. "Oh, so you finally come out. I'll have you arrested before sunset." My son stood there, arms loose but unyielding, then said, steady as granite, "You just made a false report. Do you understand the penalty for that?" She tried to laugh him off, calling him a squatter, saying she owned the street. He didn't even blink. He just pulled out his wallet, slow and easy, and flashed his badge, U.S. Marine Military Police. The look on Karen's face was priceless. Shock, fear, denial, all tangled up. "That badge doesn't mean anything here," she spat. He stepped closer, voice low but full of command. "Stay right there." It was the kind of order you obey before your brain catches up. And then the sirens rolled in. Red and blue lights flashed, neighbors murmured. Karen's confidence started to slip, but she still ran to the cops, waving her arms, screaming about a gun and unstable men. The lead officer tried to take control, told her to step aside. My son, hands up and calm, addressed the officers directly. "I recommend you review her call carefully. She filed a false report, trespassed, tried unlawful entry with a counterfeit key, and lied about weapons." The officers hesitated, 2 stories, both loud. Karen shrieked about a fake badge, My son calmly handed over both IDs. The officer's whole demeanor changed. "Ma'am, did you say he was impersonating an officer?" The color drained from Karen's face as the officer confirmed the credentials. "Which means you just tried to have us arrest a Marine MP on false charges." The neighbors gasped. Karen started making excuses, but nobody bought it. The officers took her by the arm, led her toward a squad car. She screamed, protested. But the show was over. Some neighbors clapped. But just as I started to breathe again, the lead cop turned to me. "Do you have paperwork proving this property's yours?" Of course I did. But it was inside, and I wasn't about to leave the porch. My son stopped me. "Not yet. She might have planted false paperwork." Sure enough, a black sedan pulled up. HOA's legal rep, slick as oil, waving phony documents. "We've initiated proceedings. These men are trespassing on HOA property." My son took the file, scanned it, and just laughed. "Wrong letterhead, misspelled titles. No county stamps," he said. Then he pulled up the official county land registry on his phone. The officer checked. My name, my deed, clean and clear. The suited lawyer started to sweat. Officers handed back his fake documents and slapped cuffs on him, too. Karen lost it, screaming from the squad car. "He hacked the system. I own this street." My son, steady as ever, said, "No, you don't own anything. Not anymore." But the real twist came after the chaos. The cops wanted to verify everything, and my son warned me. Karen wasn't working alone. He'd been tracking HOA corruption rings, even while overseas. That's why he came home. Fake notices, fake liens, they preyed on folks who wouldn't fight back, until now. Then, a neighbor, Daniels, slipped an envelope under our door, evidence of board payoffs, hush money. Daniels himself paid to back up Karen's lies. My son didn't blame him. He'd flipped. He's scared, but he knows the walls are closing in. With evidence in hand, we went door to door. At first, folks shut their doors, but when we showed proof, fake notices, bogus fines, they started talking. Stories poured out, single moms fined, veterans harassed. My son made a private Facebook group, posted the receipts, and suddenly, people were ready to fight back. That night at the church hall, neighbors gathered, more than I'd ever seen. At any HOA meeting, my son laid it all out, walked everyone through the county registry, exposed the scheme. Then Daniels confessed in front of everyone. He'd been paid, but he couldn't do it anymore. The final twist, my son played a recording from a USB Daniels had slipped him, a call between the lawyer and a vendor, plotting more fake liens. It got quiet. People realized this was bigger than Karen. The next morning, my son was up before dawn, rallying the neighbors. He said, "We don't fight gossip with gossip. We fight with public facts." He set up a sting operation with the county investigator. The whole neighborhood mobilized, finally united, lookouts, document checkers, every parent, every kid. And just as dusk fell, Karen rolled down the street in a truck, eyes fixed straight ahead. She didn't get out. She wasn't queen anymore. She was just another shadow in the twilight. My son put his arm around me. They forgot two things. We own this land, and we fight for family. And that's how we took our neighborhood back from a fake queen, a paper king, and a whole web of lies. But here's the thing. Nobody knows how far this mess really goes. My son says there are more like her, more suits with fake documents, more small-timers cashing in on fear. We don't know how long this will last, but we're not alone anymore. For the first time since that key scraped my lock, I slept easy, knowing this community had found its backbone. So now I gotta ask, if it happened on your block, what would you do? Where's the line between protecting your home and fighting a war you never wanted? Share your take below. Tell me, is this justice or just the start of something bigger? Because if you ask me, land isn't just dirt. It's where we plant our lives, and nobody's taking that from us, not without a fight.